Reader, have you ever felt it? That strange, prickly feeling that crawls up the back of your neck. It's a feeling that tells you something isn't quite right. It's a whisper in your ear, a little voice that says, be careful. Most of the time, our days are normal. We wake up, we go to school or work, we talk to our friends. Everything is safe, everything is predictable. But sometimes, things happen that are not normal. Sometimes, you meet people who make you feel uncomfortable, and you don't know why. These are the moments that stick with you, the stories you tell your friends with a nervous laugh. These encounters can happen anywhere, at any time. They can happen at your own front door, a place that is supposed to be your safe space. They can happen when you are trying to do something simple, like buying a new phone from someone online. And in our modern world, they can even happen through the cold, glowing screen of your computer, when a stranger appears from the other side of the world. These experiences are like little cracks in the safe, ordinary world we know. They show us that we must always be aware, always be watching, and always be ready to listen to that little voice inside our heads. This is a story about 3 of those times. 3 times when my ordinary day turned into something strange, something a little bit scary. Each time, I had to make a quick decision. Each time I felt that cold shiver run down my spine, warning me that danger might be near. These are not ghost stories with rattling chains or monsters hiding under the bed. These are stories about real people and real situations, which sometimes can be the most frightening thing of all. They are reminders that the world can be an unpredictable place, and being cautious is not being silly. It's being smart. So, lean in closer. Listen carefully. I want to tell you about the pizza delivery man who wanted to come back. I want to tell you about the man who was selling a phone but seemed to be selling something else. And I want to tell you about the face that appeared on my computer screen late one night. These stories are true, and they all start with a perfectly normal day just like today. But as you will soon see, normal days can change in the blink of an eye. Are you ready? Let's begin. It all started on a cold, rainy Friday night. I was home alone, which was not unusual for me. My parents had gone out for the evening, and I had the entire house to myself. The wind howled outside, and rain tapped against the window panes like tiny, impatient fingers. It was the perfect night for a movie and pizza. I called my favorite local place, Pizza Palace, and ordered a large pepperoni pizza with extra cheese. They told me it would arrive in about 30 minutes. I settled onto the couch, wrapped in a warm blanket, and turned on a horror movie. It seemed like the right choice for such a stormy night. About 40 minutes later, the doorbell rang. I paused my movie and walked to the front door, peering through the small peephole. I could see a man standing on the porch holding a pizza box. He wore a red baseball cap with the Pizza Palace logo on it, but the rain had soaked it and it dripped onto the shoulders of his dark jacket. He looked tired and wet, and I felt a little sorry for him having to work in such bad weather. I unlocked the door, ready to get my delicious hot pizza and get back to the safety of my couch and my movie. I opened the door, and a gust of cold, wet air rushed inside. "One large pepperoni?" the man asked. His voice was low and a little rough. I nodded and handed him the money, plus a good tip because of the terrible weather. He gave me the warm pizza box and I thanked him. For a moment, he just stood there, looking past me, into the hallway of my house. It was a little strange, but I thought maybe he was just trying to get out of the rain for a second longer. "Have a good night, all," I said, trying to signal that our transaction was over. He finally nodded and turned to leave. I closed the door, locking it carefully behind me, and carried my prize back to the living room. The smell of melted cheese and warm dough filled the air, and my stomach rumbled with excitement. I placed the box on the coffee table and was about to open it when I thought about the delivery man. There was just something about the way he looked into the house, a little too long, a little too interested. I shook my head, telling myself I was being silly. It was just the horror movie and the stormy night making me paranoid. He was just a pizza guy doing his job. I sat down and opened the pizza box. The pizza looked amazing, just as I had hoped. I took a big slice and took a bite, my eyes glued to the television screen. The movie was getting to a scary part, with loud music and lots of shadows. I was completely lost in the film, enjoying my food, and the feeling of being cozy while the storm raged outside. Another 10 or 15 minutes passed. The rain was coming down even harder now, and I could hear thunder rumbling in the distance. My house was the only one on our street with lights on. Everyone else seemed to be asleep or away. Suddenly, I heard a sound. It wasn't from the movie. It was a knock on my front door. My heart jumped into my throat. Who could be at my door at this hour? It was almost 10 p.m. My parents weren't due back for at least another hour. I muted the television and the house became silent, except for the sound of the rain and my own breathing. I stood up slowly, feeling a knot of fear tighten in my stomach. The horror movie didn't seem so fun anymore. I crept to the front door, my feet making no sound on the carpet. My hand was shaking as I reached for the peephole. I took a deep breath and looked through the tiny glass lens. My blood ran cold. It was him, the pizza delivery man. He was standing there on my porch, completely soaked by the rain, with no pizza box this time. Why was he back? What could he possibly want? My mind raced through all the possibilities. Did I give him the wrong amount of money? Did he forget something? But he didn't seem to be holding anything. He was just standing there, staring at my door, waiting. I didn't move. I just watched him through the peephole, my heart pounding like a drum against my ribs. He wasn't moving either. He just stood there in the pouring rain, as if he had all the time in the world. The silence was terrifying. I was too scared to open the door, but I was also too scared to walk away from it. What if he tried to open it? I had locked it. I was sure of it, but a wave of doubt washed over me. I stayed frozen, watching him, waiting for him to do anything to break the awful, tense silence. After what felt like an eternity, he knocked again. This time it was louder, more insistent. Knock, knock, knock. The sound echoed through the quiet house. My first instinct was to call out, to ask what he wanted, but that little voice in my head, the one that tells you when something is wrong, screamed at me to stay silent. Don't let him know you are there. Don't let him know you are alone. I backed away from the door slowly, trying not to make a sound. I grabbed my phone from the coffee table, my fingers fumbling with the screen. I was ready to call for help. Then, I heard his voice. It was muffled by the door and the rain, but I could hear it clearly. Hello? I know you're in there, he called out. I just need to use your phone. My car broke down, and my phone is dead. His voice sounded calm, but something about it felt wrong. It felt like a trick. Why my phone? There were other houses. He could have walked to a gas station. Why come back to the house where he knew a young person was alone? All these questions flooded my mind, and each one made me more and more certain that I should not, under any circumstances, open that door. I stayed hidden in the living room, peeking around the corner towards the front door. I held my phone tightly in my hand, my thumb hovering over the call button for the police. He knocked one last time, harder than before. Please, I just need some help, he yelled. I didn't answer. I stayed perfectly still, holding my breath. A few more agonizing seconds passed. Then, I heard the sound of his footsteps walking away from the door. I rushed back to the peephole and watched as he walked down my driveway and disappeared into the rainy darkness. He didn't walk towards a broken-down car, he just walked down the street and vanished. I waited for a long time, watching through the window, making sure he was really gone. When my parents came home an hour later, I told them everything. My dad immediately called the pizza place. The manager was very concerned. He said all his delivery drivers had finished their shifts and returned long ago. He also said that it was company policy for drivers to never, ever ask a customer for personal help or to enter their home. What I learned from that night was simple, but powerful. My safety is more important than being polite. It's okay to say no, or in my case to say nothing at all. Always trust your gut instinct. That little feeling of fear is not paranoia, it's a warning bell. My second creepy story happened a year later, during a bright summer afternoon. My old phone had finally given up, and I desperately needed a new one. New phones were expensive, so I decided to look for a used one online. I found a great deal on a marketplace website. A man was selling a nearly new phone for a very good price. His profile looked normal, with a few positive reviews from other buyers. I sent him a message and we quickly agreed on the price. Now we just had to decide where and when to meet so I could buy the phone. He suggested we meet at a large busy train station in the city center the next day. This seemed like a perfect idea to me. A public place with lots of people around is always the safest option for meeting a stranger. I felt confident and secure. I told my friend where I was going and who I was meeting just as a precaution. I took the train into the city, feeling excited about my new phone. The sun was shining, the city was bustling with activity, and I thought nothing could possibly go wrong. I arrived at the station a few minutes early, and found the spot we had agreed to meet, near the main ticket counter. I stood by the ticket counter watching the crowds of people rushing to catch their trains. I checked my messages to make sure I had the right spot. He had sent me a description of what he was wearing, a blue jacket and a black backpack. I scanned the area, looking for him. 5 minutes passed, then 10. He was late. I started to feel a little annoyed. I sent him a message. "I'm here at the ticket counter. Where are you?" I waited, watching my phone screen, but there was no reply. I began to wonder if he was going to show up at all. Just as I was about to give up and go home, my phone buzzed with a new message. It was from him. "Sorry, I'm running late," the message said. Something came up. "Can we meet somewhere else?" He sent me a new address. I looked it up on my phone's map. It wasn't another public place like a coffee shop or a park. It was an apartment building, about a 15-minute walk from the train station. A shiver of unease went down my spine. Why did he want to change the plans so suddenly? And why did he want me to come to a private residence? I messaged him back immediately. "I'm not comfortable going to an apartment," I wrote. "Can we please just meet here at the station as we planned? I can wait." His reply came back almost instantly, and it was a little pushy. "It's much easier for me here. I have the phone and the box in my apartment. It's on the 3rd floor. It will only take 5 minutes. The building is very safe." His insistence made me feel even more nervous. Why was it so important for me to go to his apartment? A simple transaction for a phone shouldn't require me to go to a private place. My mind started to race. Maybe he was telling the truth. Maybe it really was just more convenient for him. But the feeling in my gut was getting stronger. It was a feeling of dread. The first plan was safe. It was public. This new plan was the opposite. It was private and isolated. I would be walking into a stranger's building, into a stranger's apartment. No one would know exactly where I was. The busy, safe train station felt a million miles away from the quiet, unknown apartment building he wanted me to go to. I felt a conflict inside me. The desire for the cheap phone versus the growing fear for my own safety. He sent another message, trying to persuade me. "I'll even give you a discount if you come here now. I really need to sell it today." This was a huge red flag. Why was he suddenly so desperate? The good deal was now turning into a suspicious one. It felt like bait. He was trying to tempt me with a lower price, hoping I would ignore my fears. The excitement I had felt earlier about getting a new phone was completely gone. Now all I felt was a cold, creeping anxiety. The sun was still shining outside, but a dark cloud had formed over my plans. I thought about what could happen. I thought about all the stories you hear about online meetups going wrong. I imagined walking into that apartment building, the heavy front door closing behind me. I imagined walking up the stairs, the hallways getting quieter with each step. I imagined knocking on his apartment door, not knowing who or what was on the other side. The picture in my mind was terrifying. It was a scene from a scary movie, and I did not want to be the main character. My decision was becoming clearer with every message he sent. I took a deep breath and typed out my final message. My hands were a little shaky, but my words were firm. "No thank you. I am not going to a private address. If you can't meet at the station, then I am no longer interested in buying the phone." I hit send. For a moment, I wondered if I was overreacting. Was I being too paranoid? Was I letting a great deal slip away because of a silly feeling? But the feeling wasn't silly. It was strong and clear. It was my internal alarm system, ringing as loud as it possibly could. I had to listen to it. He replied one last time. His message was completely different now. The friendly and persuasive tone was gone. His words were angry and rude. He called me a waste of time and used some bad language. This final message confirmed everything. It showed his true character. A normal, trustworthy seller would have understood my concern for safety. They would have either agreed to meet in public or politely canceled the sale. His angry reaction proved that his intentions were probably not good. I felt a wave of relief wash over me. I had made the right decision. I blocked his number and his profile on the website. I turned around and walked back to the train platform, not even looking back. I didn't get a new phone that day, but I didn't care. I felt like I had dodged a bullet. I had avoided a potentially dangerous situation. The 15-minute walk to that apartment could have changed my life for the worse. Instead, I was safe. I was on a train heading home. The money for the phone was still in my pocket, and my safety was intact. That was worth more than any phone in the world. From this experience, I learned that red flags are red for a reason. When a situation feels wrong, it probably is. A person's insistence on changing a safe plan to a risky one is a major warning sign. So is a deal that suddenly seems too good to be true, especially when someone is pressuring you. It is always better to lose a good deal than to risk your personal safety. Never let anyone, especially a stranger, pressure you into doing something that makes you feel uncomfortable. Your gut feeling is your best friend in these situations. Listen to it, always. This last encounter didn't happen in person. It happened through my computer screen, which shows that you don't have to be face-to-face with someone to feel scared. One bored evening when I was about 16, I decided to go on a website called Omegle. It was a popular site at the time that randomly connected you with strangers for one-on-one video chats. You could talk to people from all over the world. Most of the time the conversations were silly and short. You would say hello, maybe talk for a minute, and then, one of you would click skip to move on to the next person. I was clicking through a few uninteresting chats, people playing music, people with their cameras pointed at the ceiling, people who said nothing at all. It was just a mindless way to pass the time. I wasn't expecting anything significant to happen. I clicked next and a new face appeared on my screen. It was a man who looked to be in his late 30s or early 40s. He had a very plain face and was sitting in a dimly lit room. The only light seemed to be coming from his computer screen, which cast strange shadows on his face. He just smiled at me. "Hello," he said. His voice was very calm and quiet. "What's your name?" I didn't want to give him my real name, so I made one up. "I'm Alex," I said. He nodded slowly, his smile never leaving his face. "It's nice to meet you, Alex," he said. Then he started asking me questions. They started off as normal questions. "Where are you from? What are your hobbies?" I gave him vague answers, not wanting to share any real information about myself, but his questions started to get more specific, more personal. He wanted to know what my house looked like. He asked what school I went to. A feeling of deep unease began to settle over me. Why did he want to know these things? The friendly chat was starting to feel like an interrogation. I tried to change the subject, asking him a question about himself. "So, where are you from?" I asked. He completely ignored my question. He just kept staring at me with that same unnerving smile. Then he said something that made my stomach drop. "I like the poster on your wall," he said. "The one with the blue car." I froze. I looked behind me. There it was. A poster of a vintage blue car was hanging on my bedroom wall, clearly visible behind me in the video chat. He hadn't just seen the poster, he had been studying my room. He had been paying attention to the details of my personal space. "You have good taste," he continued, his voice still quiet and calm. But his calmness was the scariest part. He was so relaxed while I was starting to panic. I felt exposed and vulnerable. He was a complete stranger, thousands of miles away, but it felt like he was right there in my room with me, looking at my things. My heart was racing. I didn't say anything. I just stared back at my screen, at his smiling face. Then, he leaned in closer to his camera. His face filled the screen. "I bet I can guess the name of the street you live on," he said, his smile widening. That was it. I didn't wait to hear his guess. I didn't wait for him to say another word. My hand shot to my mouse and I slammed the disconnect button. His face vanished from my screen, replaced by the website's main page. I immediately closed the browser and shut down my computer. I sat there in the dark, my room suddenly feeling unsafe. The poster on my wall seemed to mock me. I never went back on that website again. The experience taught me a valuable lesson about the internet. Anonymity is an illusion. When you are on a video call, you are sharing more than just your face. You are sharing a window into your private life. People can see your room, they can hear sounds in your house, and they can pick up on small details that you might not even notice. That man wasn't a hacker with magical powers, he was just observant. He used a small detail to intimidate me and gain a sense of power. From that day on, I became much more careful about what I shared online and who I shared it with. These three stories, the pizza man, the phone seller, and the Omegle stranger, all taught me the same thing. They taught me to trust my instincts. That feeling of fear, that sense of unease, is a gift. It's your mind's way of protecting you. Whether you are at your front door, in a public place, or online, you have to be your own security guard. It is always okay to end a conversation, to walk away from a situation, or to close your laptop if something feels wrong. Being polite is not as important as being safe. Remember that, reader. Listen to that little shiver down your spine. It might just be the thing that keeps you safe from the strange and unpredictable corners of the world.